Hello friends, welcome to UGC NET GATE Studios. In today's video, we will be discussing two questions which was asked in UGC NET June 2020 exam, and these two questions will be based on discrete mathematics. One topic will be from the linear programming problem, that is a part of optimization, and the second problem will be based on propositional logic. Now optimization or that is linear programming problem plays a very important role. If we are able to solve this type of question, it is actually very much mark fetching. These are simple steps, simple means well defined steps only. There are no changes in the steps, and simply will be able to directly score 2 marks. And short one question is generally always asked from the topic of optimization. In general, in linear programming problem, we have to solve, but it's not too difficult, it's simple. And let's see the question which was asked in UGC NET June 2020, and it is consider the following LPP. LPP stands for the linear programming problem, and generally in UGC NET examination it is always asked for 2 variables only, and because since the process will get lengthy, they have never asked for 3 variables, and it is generally for 2 variables, x1 and x2. Here the 2 variables, these are x1 and x2. Maximize means we have to maximize it. Maximize z equal to 2x1 plus 3x2, and these two are the constants. Generally these are the restrictions or the constants which were given. These are the constants which will be specified in the question. Now it is asked in June 2020 of UGC NET examination. We have to maximize, and now I will be solving this problem step by step, and how to attempt this question in the exam if it is asked. So it is the constants are given. Now the first step that we have to do is it is given less than equal to 4 and less than equal to 5, and these two constants, that is a variable, should be always in the positive side, that is greater than or equal to 0. Now first we have to create the graph. We will solve it in the graphical way. It is generally easy to solve using the graphical method. So first we have to equalize the variable, that is we will be taking 2x1 plus x2, we have to equate it to 4, and the other is x1 plus 2x2, we have to equate it to 5. I have brought these two statements from these two constants which have been given. From these two constants I have written this statement. Simply I have removed the less than sign, or in some cases we may have the greater than sign also, but in this question it is less than sign. So I have simply removed the less than sign. I have equated it to these respective variables. Respective constants. These are the constant 4 and 5. Now I will be creating the graph for it. Generally we have to create a graph for 2 variables. So simply I am drawing this, just check it out. We have 2 variables. This one is the positive side of x1, and this one is the negative side of x1. This one is the positive side of x2, and this one is the negative side of x2. Now in this equation, let this be equation 1, and I am naming it as equation 2. Now listen, be careful, be attentive. In this equation, in equation 1, I am simply putting x1 equal to 0. Now generally you see, if I put x1 equal to 0, this total part will be vanished. Okay, I am putting x1 equal to 0, so x2 will equate to simply 4. I am writing it in equation, in this equation I am putting x1 is equal to 0, so we will get x2 as 4. Similarly, in the similar equation, if I put x2 equal to 0, then x1 will be 2. See, x2 equal to 0, so x1 will be 2, will be divided that side, and x1 will just simply be 2. Now similarly for this equation also, this one, if I am putting x1 is equal to 0, then I will be having x2 is equal to 2.5, and similarly if I put x2 equal to 0, then x1 will be 5. See, x1 have, if I putting x1 equal to 0, x2 will be 2.5. 2 will be divided that side, it will be 2.5. And for x2 equal to 0, x1 will be straightly, it will be 5. Now I have to simply plot these points in the graph. Okay, what are the 2 points that I am getting here? One is 0, 4. One is 2, 0. This one is x1, 0, 4. First I am plotting 0, 4. See, this is the point of 0, 0. I am simply taking here 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Since we have only positive values, I am not labeling the negative ones. Now I am taking here 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now first I have the point 0 and 4. That is x1 is 0 and x2 is 4. This is the point 0, 4. Now the second point is x1 is 2 and x1 is 2 and x2 is 0. That is 2, 0. This is the point 2, 0. Now I will be joining these two points. Simply I have joined these 2 points, and these points are for the equation. This one are for this equation 2x1 plus x2 equal to 4. That is, this line is for 2x1 plus x2 equal to 4. Okay, 2x1 plus x2 equal to 4. Now coming to the second equation. Here we have one is 0 and 2.5. That is 0 and 2.5 will lie somewhere here. 0, 2.5, and the other is 0, 5. 5, and the other is 5. X1 is 5 and x2 is 0. 5, 0. 5, 0 will somewhere it is here. Okay. 5, 0. X1 is 5 and x2 is 0, and this one is x1 is 0 and x2 is 5 in this line. Now we will be also joining these 2 lines, these 2 points. Okay, now this line is for this equation, that is x1 plus 2x2 equal to 5. x1 plus 2x2 equal to 5. Okay, major part we have completed. Now comes the real picture, that is using the constant. We have plotted it for equal to, that is equal to. This line is for equal to. This line is for the case of equal to. But in the question it is given less than equal to. Less than. For less than will be coming downwards, and for greater than will be going upwards. Since it is less than, will be going downwards. That is we have to imagine the line going downwards. That is, we have to mark like this. You simply mark in the rough papers which will be given in the examination. And even for this one, the first equation, it is also less than equal to. So we have to point it like this. Okay, now the other 2 constants are x1 and x2 greater than or equal to 0. This is x1 greater than 0, that is going upwards. x1 greater than 0, going upwards. Now this is the case of x2 greater than 0. x2 greater than 0, that is going x2 greater than 0, that is going that side, means greater than 0, not less than 0. We will be going rightwards, towards the positive side. Okay, greater than 0, that is this side. Okay. Now simply understand, we have to find the common bounded region, the region that is bounded by all the lines. Means all the lines means this all the constant. We have to find the region which has been bounded by all the constants. Okay, now we can simply see that I am marking it a different color. Now you can simply see that this is the region which is bounded by all the 4 constants. This is the region which is bounded by all the 4 constants. You can simply see this is the region, all the 4 constants with this constant, this, and x1, x2 greater than equal to individual, x1 greater than equal to 0 and x2 greater than equal to 0. This is the region which is bounded by all the 4 constants. Now we simply mark the coordinates of this region. See now, here we have already, let me name it, this is point A, which is 0, 0. This point is point B, which is 0, 2.5. This is point C. We don't have the coordinates here, and this is point D. The coordinates are 2, 0. Okay, now we have to find the coordinates of point C. Now you can simply see that C point is the intersection between the lines x1 plus 2x2 equal to 5 and 2x1 plus x2 equal to 4. Now if we solve these two equations, we will be getting the coordinates of point C. Now let us solve these two equations. I am erasing this part. Now let us solve these two equations. Here you have 2x1 plus x2 equal to 4 and x1 plus 2x2 equal to 5. You may be familiar with solving linear equation of this type. Now in equation 2, I am simply multiplying 2. So in this equation, if I multiply 2, that is 2 into this equation, then it simply changes to 2x1 plus 4x2 equal to 10. Suppose this is equation 3. Now from equation 1 and 3, you simply see from equation 1 and 3, here is 2x1 and 2x1, and I am subtracting it, that is simply I am doing equation 3 minus 1, and by subtracting equation 3 minus 1 we will simply get 4x2 and x2, it will be 3x2. 3x2 will be equal to 6. 10 minus 4, 6. That is x2 will be equal to 2, and simply by putting x2 here, in that is in equation 1 or equation 2, you may put it anywhere. X2 equal to 2, I am putting it in equation 1, I will be getting x1 equal to 1. So I have got the coordinates of point C now. The coordinates of point C are x1 is equal to 1 and x2 is equal to 2. Okay, now I have got the coordinates of point C. Now this question is to maximize. The question is to maximize. So here I have got 4 points that is bound, the points that bound this region A, B, C and D, and I have also got the coordinates of these 4 points. Simply you have to find the coordinate of one point, that is C1, 2. We have to calculate, other points will be getting it from this equation. Now we have to put the coordinates value in this coordinate point in this equation and find the maximum value. Now let us see which value comes out to be the maximum value. Now we can simply see max z equal to 2x1 plus 3x2. We have to maximize it. Okay. Now putting point A. Here in point A simply 0, 0, that is if I put x1 equal to 0 and x2 equal to 0, we will be simply getting z as 0. Okay. So in point A I get z equal to 0. Now I am using point B. In point B I have x equal to 0, x1 equal to 0 and x2 equal to 2.5. If I put here in this equation, I will get z equal to x1 is 0, so this part will be vanished, and x2 equal to 2.5, and 2.5 if multiplied with 3, I will be getting 3 into 2.5, which is equal to 7.5. Okay. Now coming to point C, x1 equal to 1 and x2 equal to 2. Okay, now putting in this equation, z equal to x1 as 1 and x2 as 2, I will be getting 2 into 1 plus 3 into 2, which will be equal to 8. Okay. Now coming to point D, z equal to x1 is 2 and x2 is 0. x1 is 2 and x2 is 0. Now x1 is 2, that is 2 into 2 plus 3 into 0. Okay. So this will be simply 4. Now which is the maximum from here? 0, 7.5, 8 and 4. We see that maximum value is 8. So now there will be 4 options. There will be 8 is one of them in the 4 options. So we are getting the maximum value as 8. In this way we will be able to solve this kind of linear programming problem. Since I explained it step by step, it took it might take a little more time, but once you practice and get familiar with it, It will be solved in a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes maximum it will take to solve in a fast manner. So just take this type of questions and try to solve. If there may be some doubt, in case doubt persists, please mention it in the comment section. We'll be happy to help you out. And the second point is we'll be taking more question of these sorts. We'll be taking more question of this type, and I'll be also be taking 3 variables, and I'll be also be solving it in coming classes. So please take this sort of question and try to solve them. If there are some doubts, do mention in our Telegram section. And now we'll be going to the second question, that is the question on propositional logic, and we'll be solving that question. That question is also asked in UGC NET 2020. Now coming to the next question. Now this is another question which has been asked in UGC NET June 2020, and this question is on propositional logic, on equivalences of propositional logic. One simple step to solve this type of question is that you can create a truth table, but in case of truth table it will be difficult and time consuming, since see here there are P, Q, R, 3 variables. In case of a 3 variable, you have to create 2 power 3, that is you have to take 8 values. So it will be generally be lengthy, and not for 1, you have to take 4. There are 4 options, you have to take you have to make 4 tables, 4 truth tables. So in this case it will be better if we will be solving using rules of proposition. We can solve it using rules of proposition. It will be simple, and in some cases, in this type of cases, it is asked which of the following propositions are not logical equivalent. It is asked which of the propositions are not logical equivalent. Mark this word, it is not logical equivalent. Now it is better to find out which is equivalent, because finding equivalent is easy than finding out which is not equivalent. Because in case if you are going to find out which is not equivalent, you may get stuck in some steps, and some time will be wasted there finding that whether we have put the right formula or not, like that. So better is that we'll find out which are equivalent, and the option which will be left out, it will be definitely be not equivalent. Now starting, I am simply first defining the symbols which are usual. This is the symbol of implication, that is conditional statement. If P then R, that is, this is the symbol of implication, and these all you know, this is and, this is or, and this is the symbol of biconditional. Now before solving such type of questions, a basic 2 to 3 formulas based on implication you should remember. This 2 to 4 formulas I am mentioning it here. First is, it's a general, first is the conditional statement, which is P implies Q. This is generally the conditional statement. Now then comes the converse of the conditional statement, that is Q implies P. This is the converse. Now the next part is negation P implies negation Q. This part is the inverse of the conditional statement. This part is known as the inverse. Now the last part is negation Q implies negation P. This part is known as the contrapositive. Now you have to remember one thing, that this converse is equivalent to inverse and the conditional is equivalent to the contrapositive. Converse and inverse are too similar. If you draw the truth table of converse and inverse, it will be similar, and if you draw the truth table of conditional statement and contrapositive statement, these two will be equal. Okay, you have to remember this 4. Easy to remember: conditional, converse, inverse and contrapositive. Now let us solve this. I will be going option by option. Now let us first take the first option. I am solving it here, the first option. It is saying P implies R and Q implies R. This part is the LHS. See, and are not logical equivalent, means this one I have to compare this one with this one, this and this, this and this, this and this, this and this. Okay, I am taking the first option, not logical equivalent. The RHS is P or Q implies R. Okay, I am going with the LHS. P implies R. One more formula you have to remember. P implies Q is logically equivalent to negation P or Q. Now, using this formula, this will be negation P or R. I have an and between, and this one will be negation Q or R. I only use this formula. Now, this will be logically equivalent to, now I will be using the distributive law, and this will be logically equivalent to, here it is negation P or R and negation Q or R. And in case of the distributive law, you know, here it is A or B. I am writing it here, A or B. I have in between I have a and. This one is suppose A or C. Okay, and this will simply rule out to A and B or C. Simply the distributive law. Okay, A and B or C. So I will be simply be using this rule here. It is A or B and A or C. So in this case, suppose this part is my A, I will be writing, suppose it will be here and R. It will be sorry, I made a mistake here. It will be or R. This one will be or, and this one will be negation P and negation Q. So it's a bit mistake here. Sorry. This will be and. Okay, simply it is the distributive law. You have to remember some of the laws of propositional logic, then it will be easy to solve. Okay, now I am getting it negation P and negation Q or R. Now I am simply taking the negation out. Okay, simply taking the negation out, then it will be P or Q or R. Okay, now I have taken the negation out. I am comparing this one with this one. Okay, so I have taken the negation out. While taking out the negation out, it is negation. It is simply the application of De Morgan's law. If you take out the negation, or simply you can do it like this only. See, if you have negation A and negation B, I have to take out the negation common from here. Then if I take the negation, it will be simply A and will be converted to OR. This will be OR and this will be simply B. This simple step I have used here. Negation is taken out. This P remains as it is, Q remains as it is after removing the negation, and will be changed to OR. Simply now, if we put a complement, if we remove complement, 0 changes to 1, 1 changes to 0, plus is converted to multiplication, and dot is converted to OR, that portion. That if we have something like that, A and B, and if we take the negation, so what it becomes? Negation A or negation B. It is simply the application of De Morgan's law. And if we have A or B whole complement, negation A and negation B. Now in this step, it is negation P or Q or R. So I have said a formula here, negation P or Q. P implies Q is negation P or Q. I have this step here, I have negation P or Q. Suppose this entire part is my P. So this is negation P or Q, that is P implies Q. Negation P or Q is equivalent to P implies Q. So here this is P. So here we will be writing P implies Q, which is equal to the RHS. So this one and this one are logically equivalent. That is, the first part is not the answer because they are logically equivalent. Now coming to the second part. Second part is we have P biconditional, or we can also say double implies Q, and negation P double implies negation Q. This part is the LHS and this part is the RHS. One second. Let me not write it here. I'm solving this one. Let us see that we have to prove this one is logically equivalent to this one. Now I am taking the case of I'm starting from the RHS. Okay. In the RHS I have negation P double implies negation Q. So we have another formula biconditional, which is P double implies Q is logically equivalent to P implies Q and Q implies P. We will be using this formula here. This is logically equivalent to P implies Q. Since in case of P and Q, in place of P and Q, we are having negation P and negation Q. So P implies Q and Q implies P. Okay. Now we know this one is the inverse, and inverse is equivalent to converse. So in place of negation P implies negation Q, we can write Q implies P. So here we will be writing Q implies P, and here we will be writing P implies Q. Okay. Q implies P and P implies Q, and this is simply the formula. P implies Q and Q implies P is simply the formula biconditional. See, P implies Q, P implies Q, and Q implies P, and Q implies P, and this will simply be equivalent to P double implies Q, which is equal to our LHS. This one is LHS. So this one and this one are logically equivalent. It is also not our answer. Now coming to the third one. Third one is we have P and Q, or negation P and negation Q. So we'll be starting with this one is 1 and this one is 1. We'll be starting with RHS. Suppose I am starting with P double implies Q. So this will be logically equivalent. This is the RHS, and this will logically be equivalent to P implies Q and Q implies P. Okay. So from this formula, and P implies Q can be written as negation P or Q. So we will be writing here negation P or Q and negation Q or P. Okay. Now it is the case of distributive law. That is, I am taking this part as A dot this and A dot B or C. This one is my B and this one is my C. That is, we have A dot B plus C. It can be generally written as AB or plus AC. So I will be writing AB, that is negation P A B, this is negation. We will be having or A, and we will be having C. We have got the or already. The or is there in this third option, or we have in the middle. We have got the or here. Now coming to the next step. Here again we have to apply the distributive law, that is A and BC. A and B or C, that is this one is A, and taking any one of them as B and C. A and B or C, that is AB, that is negation Q and negation P, or AC, that is negation Q and Q. We have the giving a bracket, we have a odd in between. Similarly here A and B plus C, that is P and negation P, or P and Q. Now this part Q and negation Q, true and false, will simply turn out to be false. In this case 0, true and false. This part will simply be 0, this one will be simply, it has no existence. 1 and 0, 1 and 0. Logical operator here, and this is a logical operator, it is 0. So simply in case it will be, this one will turn out to be 0 and this one will turn out to be 0. 0 or something, 0 or 1, 0 or any value, is that any value? So here 0 or something will get this value, that is negation P and negation Q, and here or P and Q. 0 or any value, is that any value, P and Q. And in the we have started with the RHS and the LHS are having P and Q, or negation P and negation Q, negation P and negation Q, which is equal to the LHS. So this one is also not an answer. So the remaining option is this one, that is this one and this one. These both of them are not logically equivalent. Okay, yeah, it is a lengthy process, but with practice it generally the time, since I have explained you step by step, it took some time, but if you solve it in your own in the exam, you may skip out some steps, because with practice it becomes easier. You may skip out some of the steps. So these were the 2 questions of UGC NET which has been asked recently in 2020 of June 2020 exam. So please practice it. I will be bringing more questions of this type. So please do practice on your own also some question and ask us the doubt if you are having through our Telegram channel, or you can also post comments about the doubt or any step which we are not able to understand. We will be happy to help you out. So please comment us how do you like this session, and please do like our channel, share and subscribe it as much as possible, so that students in different parts of our country who are not able to afford any kind of online facility, so they may be able to get these classes free of cost, because our channel is not monetized and will also not monetize it at any time in the future. So it will be totally free. It will be free of service to all the students. They can get the benefits. We'll be bringing more lessons of this type. So please do share it, subscribe it, and like the video. Thank you.